Hey everybody, you won't see anything but my hands in this video because I have some kind of a rudimentary tripod set up. But this here is going to be, what do you call it, the big reveal of the apple trees. I had a 3 or 4 part series on propagating apple trees, and I probably should have pulled these buckets off and seen what was under there maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but the trees are still dormant, so that's okay. But I can see the buds starting to swell up a little bit, but there's no green or anything showing. So I'm going to pull these buckets off and see if we actually have roots underneath the bottom of these trees. We'll see what happens, and we'll hope for the best. I put these in the year before, and in the springtime, about the 1st of April, I cut the tops off them, and I guess that old bucket rotted in sunshine, didn't it? I cut the tops off some little root stalks I had in here. I let them grow up a little bit and then buried them in sawdust and let them sit for a year. And now we're going to see if they actually produce roots or not. Now I have no idea. I've never done this before. This is a first for me. So off goes the old pail. Now if you were doing this, I think you would probably like to take them out and oh, look there, I see roots showing. You take them out and put them in a pail of water, but I have a piece of ground already started, so as soon as I cut these off, I'm going to cut these off and immediately transplant them over into the new piece of ground. I started a little nursery bed with spot for maybe a dozen trees or so. So far that looks encouraging. Now, from what I understand, I'm just going down to the ground level, and I'm going to find where these trees grow up, and I'll clip them off. I'm going to get my clippers in there and cut that off without cutting my fingers. And we'll see what ends up transpiring out of this. Now this should grow away again this year and produce some more trees. So there we have. These are MM111 rootstocks, and I was hoping these side shoots would produce trees and roots also, and it looked like they did. So what I'm going to do now, this particular one here, I bud grafted. If I have that in the right place, here we go. I bud grafted a bud from, these are either Honeycrisp or Jonah Gold. I have it written down in the house, so hopefully as that bud starts to grow this spring, I'll cut the top off there and I'll have a Jonah Gold seedling tree started. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to cut that off, and hopefully that will produce a tree. You can see it's got some pretty good root system onto it. I won't graft all, just put that in the ground and let it grow for this summer, and then I'll bud graft into this in August. So there's one tree. I'm going to do the same over here. You can see a nice root system on this one, and I'll do the same thing. I'll bud graft this in September. I met a gentleman out along our shore that is quite an apple collector, and he has some interesting varieties that I'll start. So now on this great big one, you can see I still have a decent root system. So I'm going to plant that right away into the ground as soon as I get the other ones cut off here. So that's 1, 2, 3 trees. This is just one root stock that was in here. And I'll get in here and cut this next one out. Big old burly looking devils they were. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. All in all, there's another small one that I'll graft into this summer. So that's 1, 2, 3 small ones. These ones here, I both put eyes into this, but sometimes the eye doesn't seems like the tree swallows it up, and that bud there to me doesn't look like it made it. I'll know in a bit as soon as it starts growing away, but it really doesn't look like it made it. And if it didn't make it, now I could bench graft into this right now. I could take this and I could bench graft into it if I had some scion wood, and that would produce my tree, or I can plant it in the ground and I'll bud graft into it in the summertime. And that's probably what I'll do with this, because I really don't know what I want to put in this yet. So I'll just plant this into the ground, I'll let it grow away, and then I'll bud graft it into in August. So out of one seedling tree that I cut off in the middle of April last year, I have 1, 2 big trees and 1, 2, 3 small ones. So one tree produced 5. Over in this other bucket, I have another bucket. I'll just take the camera off. I'll get the camera undone off the stand here. In the other bucket, sorry if I made anybody dizzy there, but in the other bucket I cut that tree off a month later, and it's probably only going to have 3 trees out of that one. So this one here was the 1st of April, that there was the 1st of May. Now this is the 1st of May now, but we're much later this season. We're probably at least 3 weeks later in our growing season. So out of 2 trees, I'm going to get 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I had a 3rd one over here that if you've seen some of my past videos, I let that grow up till it was out in full leaf. Well, it just about died. Here just a bit ago, a week or 2 ago, I came in and I cut this one off while it was still nice and dormant. So I'll have some trees that'll grow up from there this summer. And I have a little crab apple there that I grafted in last year that I'll be digging out and transplanting into the nursery also. So, propagating apple trees. First time I've ever done it, and seems like pretty good results, and it was fun. So, have a great one, everybody. The weather in Nova Scotia this last couple of weeks, I'll do a quick pan around. If you can see how green the fields have gotten, they really greened up in the last week or so. Probably in another week, 2 weeks, the cattle will start coming out into the field if we keep up with this weather. And now in my apple trees, no buds are showing yet, but in the next week, the buds will start opening, I wouldn't have any doubt. So have a great one, everybody.